This is to those who don't know me. My name is Keyshawn Martin. I'm a motivational content creator for the working man and woman, the people who are looking to make some sense of this thing that we got called life. It's nothing special. And on this channel, I simply talk about the things that I've lived. And people think my journey started the day I opened the camera in my phone. No. Because they just sitting there thinking the beginning was the first upload or the first comment that made me think I was on to something. But the truth is, my story started long before any of that. The real beginning happened in a moment nobody saw, a moment that didn't look special. It wasn't inspiring. Matter of fact, it didn't even look interesting. Not to me. It looked like just a man staring at his phone, staring at my own reflection, just wondering, what is my life supposed to become? There was nothing glamorous about that. I was not motivated, and I'm feeling tired in a way that always made me choose sleep over money. Like, some days I just rest up the whole day. When you're working on a job that demands everything from your body, from your mind, and it just pays you just enough to keep from drowning, your days will start to blend together. While I walk into an empty building right before my shift with just too many thoughts in my head and not enough money in my pocket. And there I be with the struggle version of myself. I'm just trying to hold it together. See, back then I didn't even have a dream yet, let alone a plan. And truthfully, I barely had a belief. But what I did have was a simple idea that kept reminding me that I wasn't meant to spend my entire life in survival mode, grinding to the end. That idea came every day around lunch when I'm sitting in my car, drinking coffee. I got from 7-Eleven. I'm staring out the window, all zoned out. You know, we just got the blank stare. The start before the start. And that wasn't big at all. It was just a feeling I couldn't shake, a sense that something needed to change. And even though I had no idea what change looked like, the feeling came with questions. And I'm talking about the kind of questions you try not to ask because you know the answer is going to scare you. You're going to be like, damn, what am I doing with my life? Is this all this is ever going to be? And those questions was echoing in my mind while I swept. I'm just cleaning classrooms, cleaning up for the people who will walk through them without ever knowing the battles I'm fighting inside. It wasn't dramatic, but it was a kind of breaking point, the only kind you could feel, where you realize the smallest cracks in your spirit are becoming harder to hide. Hey, the truth was simple. I knew what less felt like, having less time with the people I love, less belief in myself. And I didn't know what more meant yet, but I knew I needed it. People always talk about the big moment that changes everything, but my moment wasn't big at all. It was just me sitting in the car, looking at these fine-ass women on TikTok, Lord have mercy, thinking to myself, I cannot keep living like this. For real, they don't want nobody like me. And that sentence, it didn't change the world around me. It didn't. The bills were still there. So was the stress. The exhaustion didn't magically disappear, but something shifted. It was the first time I admitted out loud that my story wasn't over. That version of me going through the motions every day wasn't the man I was meant to be. It was time for an identity shift. I started jotting down notes on my phone, all my ideas, frustrations, and my dreams. I didn't even feel brave enough to call them dreams yet. Like, who does that? I didn't realize it then, but hey, that small act was the real beginning. Those simple ideas were giving me just permission to want a different life. They were the first signs of belief forming in a space where I stopped expecting shit. Stopped expecting anything good to happen. And that's when the real realization hit me, right? Nobody was coming to save me. Nobody was going to walk through those hallway doors to hand me a new life and hand me some money and some women or some shit. they weren't going to lift the weight I have been carrying for the last 25 years. If my story was going to change, it had to start with me and my willingness to take a risk, even if the results didn't show up right away. It wasn't some glorious declaration or like a moment I became a creator, because I didn't even know what I was building yet. I knew I wanted to make some videos and make money. What I decided was simpler, but more powerful than anything that came. It's where I decided like to stop living small, to stop shrinking myself to fit a life that didn't fit me anymore. Now that was the real beginning. The decision that I made when I stepped out of that car that night, like, you know, you looking at the stars, you just like, damn. But I wasn't the same, because I finally admitted something to myself. Hey, that the dream was already in my heart. I knew it. I'm greedy. I just didn't have a name yet. It wasn't a feeling, but it was a feeling I couldn't ignore it anymore. This was the start before the start. It's the moment nobody celebrates. Hey, let alone shares. It's when every dreamer has to face themselves in private before the public ever sees the results. It's the quiet decision that becomes the foundation for everything else you do. From that moment on, I wasn't the same man. And truthfully, I'll never be him again.